Oh, today you'll get to see why I got the handle Paradox Man. The title is Practical Problems of Living by Faith. Yesterday's video resulted in an amazing thread of commentary and questions. For those of you who cannot read the thread for yourself, it's on Facebook, I will read some of them in this video, including the comment I just made that triggered this title and will be today's topic. As I said in that comment, quote, I have wrestled with this for a long time in my life, end quote. Indeed, many of my poems were cries to God to make sense of the seemingly insane world in which I was experiencing life. I don't think I'm the only one. To me, it's time we face some of these contradictions head on, telling the truth. And by truth, I do not mean some esoteric excuse to justify the insanity. I mean that which is fleshed out in human experience, hopefully in a positive manner. I have a couple of things on my screen here on the other computer, next to the one that I record the video on, which is my laptop. Let me see. There are and then the thread is extremely long. I don't even. There's 11 shares and 41 likes and I don't know how many comments there are, and I cannot. If I read them all, this thing would take an hour. I'm skipping way down to my friend Armand, who said, wow, as usual, Ron's posts attract much wisdom, controversy, and passion. I just loved the education I got by reading all this with my bride today. And that's where I'm going to end reading. And he says, Brother Ron, relative to rage, this is another separate comment, but also by Armand. There are typically two choices made: to feel and express rage at the expense of inner peace and joy and effective action, or to become complacent, detached, and superficially blissful by avoiding and burying the emotions. There is a third choice, and that is to allow our hearts to experience all that shows up. Rage, pain, despair, jealousy, ecstasy, etc., but allow a space to occur between these emotions and our divine aware self. This way we can stay awake and present to the now without allowing our emotions to take us on a roller coaster ride. Daniel Gross says, as usual, Brother Ron, you bring up some very wonderful topics in your posts. I commend you once again, friend. In unconditional love, Daniel. I got to go back and read what Neil said. Let's see, where... Neil said, for me, total responsibility is being aware of my resting resonance frequency, which attracts everything into my life. Nothing just happens. It is created by me. And again, I can't read the entire comment in all of these cases. I love, this is another Armand one. I love that, Neil. There are no victims. That is hard to swallow for most, but once we do, we are truly free. Fear then becomes a thing of the past. And I wrote, sorry, but I cannot agree with some of your comments. Some of my disagreement is for philosophical reasons. It seems insane to me. And some is from personal experience. I'll say it again, another comment by me. Until we address real issues of injustice, we will never attain a peaceful society. And then this is the one that began to trigger the topic for today. Daniel made a very long, well, I don't know how many words it is. It's the longest one so far in the thread, and he's made other comments up above, as Armand did, and I don't know if Neil made more than one. Neil probably did too. But anyway, I'm going to just read one sentence from Daniel Gross's post. Quote, in other words, if you live in fear of certain bad things happening to you in life, the experience will be provided so that those things do indeed happen, so that we can learn to shed our fears of such things through the process of removing the fears of said things and actually experiencing that they have been removed from your life along with the fears that provided them in the first place, end quote. And I responded, this, Daniel, to me, is the insanity of whoever devised it. Oh, so we were supposed to become fearless by having the things we fear actually happen, which does not help us in any way. It merely confirms that the fear was legitimate. Now, did God design this? Which to me would make the divine a sadistic bastard. Or was it designed by an evil entity of some sort? This may be the question of the ages. If the latter is true, did God put a limit on it? Or is this eternal hell in whatever realm of creation exists? If we fear something, is it not because we have experienced that or a similar thing? Quote, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief, end quote, Mark 8:24, that's from the Bible, is a scripture that comes to mind along with, quote, for the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, end quote, referring to Job, and that's in the 3rd chapter of verse 25. The first is the cry of humanity that seems to receive very little help from God as we experience life in this world. We ask for one thing and receive the opposite, which of course increases doubt rather than building faith and confidence in life/God. The second confirms what supposedly enlightened people have taught, namely that God does this on purpose to help us. With that kind of help, is it any wonder we live in an insane world? I have wrestled with this for a long time in my life. I truly, like the man who cried out to Jesus in Mark, want to believe. However, my doubts need to be proven wrong. Is it not right in order for faith to have experiential substance? Let the spiritual teachers answer this, not with pseudo-spirituality, but with practical examples drawn from life experience and not from theoretical supposition. Now, I went back and I read most of the 9th chapter of Mark, in which that quote that I made was found, Lord, help my unbelief. I mean, this was the father of a child who suffered epileptic fits or some kind of what in those days might have been termed demon possession. And I don't know what that is, but he would throw himself into the fire and he would injure himself. He would do all sorts of damaging things to himself. And Jesus said, "O ye of little faith," if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. Now that's what my message was yesterday. All things are possible to him that believes. But what helps our belief? What helps our belief? Now, in my meditation today, I was calling on all of my fragments, all of my soul fragments from past lives and future lives to come together in the now so that I could be empowered and enriched by the wisdom of the experience that my soul has gained through traversing time and space in the evolution of my consciousness through my soul's journey. And what was coming up for me was a lot of the negative stuff from past lives. Now, yesterday I was experiencing, and even into last night to a point, I was experiencing some of the future stuff of the empowerment of the unlimitedness of the potentialities coming in. Both are me. Somebody made the comment yesterday, oh, I really like this Ron. I'm so glad this Ron is back again. And one of my friends, Maitland, said, where's that quote? Let me just go back up there. Where is it? Oh, God. This is such a long thread, and I'm sorry, I can't find it quickly, and I'm not going to worry about it. Maitland said, the Ron that you heard in yesterday's video is the same Ron that you've heard in other videos that you may not have resonated with. Why? Because I'm the paradox man. I try my honest to God best to tell the truth. And the truth is not some belief system. It's not some dogma or doctrine or some esoteric principle or something. That's not truth. That's theoretical supposition. Those are just ideas, oftentimes, that we create to explain away the insanity of the world and make some kind of a rational justification as to why the insane is insane, and why we have to experience the insanity. Yeah, we live in a free will zone. Okay, that may be an explanation enough. But like that guy in Mark chapter 9, I mean, he was experiencing life through his child who was going through hell on earth. And who did that? I mean, Neil and all of these other New Age, New Thought prognosticators, I mean, they say, well, we create our own reality. Did that kid create his own reality? You say, Ron, you don't know. You don't know what his past lives were. You don't know what karma was being worked out. Well, you're right, I don't. But I look at what's now. There is only now, remember that? Remember that esoteric principle? Live in the present, there's only now. Well, let's look at only now and what's going on. And you tell me that things are not insane. You tell me that things are rational and make sense. You tell me that it makes sense to have people bombed in their homes that are cooking supper or making love in their bed or just having fun and just being human, and all of a sudden bullets and bombs and shells start ripping their house apart. For what reason? Tell me that's sane. Tell me that's sane when little children are killed for no reason at all. And when people wage war, and you tell me that everything is the way it's supposed to be, that everything is working out just like it's supposed to be. Give me a fucking break. Forgive my language. Or not. I don't care. And I don't care if you like me or not. I don't care. I want the human family to face reality. And reality is what we experience. It's not some esoteric thing that's out there. Those are excuses and justifications that we try to plaster over and make ourselves feel better that there's really something good going on. And I really think there is something good going on. But it's not going to correct itself by avoidance. It's not going to correct itself by refusing to look at it and call it what it is. There are things that are wrong. They're just simply wrong. And anybody that experiences them did not necessarily create them. They are created so that we collectively and individually wake the hell up. We can make the world however we want it to be, but we're not going to fix the problem by avoiding it. We're not going to fix the problem by focusing only on ourselves. The inside and the outside are one thing. One thing. We experience and we see what's going on in the world and all the chaos because there's chaos within us. And there's chaos within us because faith has not been built. Because doubt has been stronger and fear has been stronger than faith. And that is what, according to Daniel and according to many spiritual teachers, this is what God does. Life just allows you to experience your vision, your perception of reality, so that whatever you want to experience, you're right. Now, I've taught that myself because I want to believe that there's sanity in an insane world. I want to believe that. I do. But I also want it to be real. I don't want to have to cover up the shit and make excuses for the stupidity and the insanity of people hurting other people. I don't want to make excuses for that. People individually need to be accountable, and there needs to come a point in time, in a generation of time, that these issues are dealt with squarely and fairly. And that's called justice. And there needs to be mercy, as I've always said. There always needs to be justice and mercy working together, because the objective is not punishment. The objective is transformation. These are the fires that transform us and transmute our experience. They have the ability to transmute our experience into paradise. And it doesn't have to be hell on earth. It can be heaven on earth. But it's not going to become heaven on earth by ignoring it and by applying spiritual platitudes and esoteric irrationalities that we use to make excuses for God and for life and for each other and for the psychopaths. We need to have as much compassion, as Aristo said in a recent thread. We need to have as much compassion for the victims, and there are victims of psychopaths. Get over it. Get over it. There are victims of psychopaths. Get over it. We need to have as much compassion for the victim as for the psychopath. But what some of these new age people do is they have compassion for the psychopath. The hell with the victim, they created their own reality. Give me a break. This stuff is insane. It's insane. It's absolutely insane to go on with this kind of doctrinal, dogmatic thinking of explaining away the things we don't like. Let's deal with the things we don't like and change them. If there are individuals involved that are making irrational, insane choices, they need to be brought to justice, whatever that means. And hopefully it means transformation. Because as I live, saith the Lord, and I'm quoting now, as I live, saith the Lord, I have no pleasure in the death of him that dieth, but that the wicked turn from his evil ways and live. That's the God that I can agree with. I have no pleasure in the death of him that dies. I have no pleasure in pain. I have no pleasure in evil. I want you to get it, God is saying. I want you to get it. Turn it around. Turn it around. Transform it. We have the power. We have the capability. Now, we need to start having a God, extraterrestrials, angelic realm, whatever, that answers our prayers. When we ask for help, we get help. Not we get more of the same thing that we're afraid of. We've experienced enough of the fear, and we have enough of the doubt, and it's legitimate because of experience, because it's what we've known. Now it's time to draw in that which we have not known, the help that we've called out for eons of time as humanity. Lord, I believe. Help mine unbelief. Please help my unbelief. Please turn this thing around so that we can now experience heaven on earth instead of hell on earth. I'm going to leave you with that thought. And you can be wherever you want to be, and if you want to unfriend me or unsubscribe from my channel, then go ahead. But I'm going to keep raising questions like this till we get it. Till we get it and we come to terms with it and stop making excuses. Thank you for listening. Namaste.